Hello, everybody, and welcome to my first ever Crimson Vow draft here on the channel. My name is Nikolai, and in this video, I will be taking you pick by pick and play by play through a Crimson Vow draft, talking through all of my decisions so you know what to do in your own Crimson Vow drafts. If you do enjoy it, remember to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel for more content, and comment below with your questions, thoughts, and feedback, and let's dive on in. If you want an overview of Crimson Vow Draft and some of the key cards to be aware of and the archetype overviews, you can check out my Crimson Vow Draft Guide on my channel. It is already posted. And if you want to see what the top 5 rares in the set are, in my opinion, you don't really have to look far because Toxrill the Corrosive is on that list of another video I made, but absolutely fantastic mythic rare. This card just ends the game when you cast it. And yeah, basically you play Toxrill, everything your opponent controls gets -1/-1 at the end of your turn, and then if they don't kill Toxrill on their turn, their creatures get an additional -1/-1 on their turn. So eventually you just win the game, and like if it survives for like a turn sequence. So very good card. But that card's obviously the first pick. If I wasn't taking that, what would my next pick be? I think it would probably be Circle of Confinement, a very nice uncommon. Just usually you're going to be able to trade up on mana by killing a 3-drop with this, and that's rare that they're going to kill the enchantment. In the commons, I think that Kindly Ancestor is a little bit better than Traveling Minister, so I would probably take the Kindly Ancestor if I was taking a white card. And then the Wolf and Scattered Thoughts are both pretty fine. This card's okay. I don't really want to first pick it though. I'd rather like get one a little bit later. But since we do have this Toxrill, it is going to impact the way we draft, because we are going to want to play a defensive deck, and we're going to want to play black if at all possible, because this card is so powerful. So, for example, taking a card like Markov Waltzer is a lot worse after we take a Toxrill, because you can't play both in the same deck, and I would much rather play Toxrill. That being said, taking a card like Desperate Farmer is a little bit far down the totem pole on what I'd like to take. I think this card's okay, but not like anything too premium, and Persistent Specimen is more of like a card if you have enough exploit things and you really need stuff to exploit them. The rare is not a card I'm a big fan of. It's just too niche and too expensive if you do want to draw cards. So we're kind of left with a decision here. I like the Steelclad Spirit because it's just going to hold the ground so well while I wait to draw my Toxrill. And if I end up in blue, I'm going to have access to card draw, which will help me find my Toxrill. So I think I'm going to take the Steelclad Spirit here. The Imprisonment gets a lot worse in this set because there are ways to punish it. Exploit is one of the featured mechanics in blue and black, and whenever you put your removal spell on a creature and they just sacrifice it, it is really not ideal. So, 2 picks in, we have a great black card and a solid blue card. I actually think this is a very good blue card, and especially if you have a Toxrill, you just need to survive, and this card does that perfectly. So, we have potential start to a blue-black deck. Undead Butler can fit that role very nicely, and I actually like it especially well with the Toxrill, because if I do have my Toxrill get killed or something like that, Undead Butler is a way to get it back, which is quite powerful to have access to. There's also Ragged Recluse, which is a card that I think can be quite good if you have some blood tokens. And then there is a Wretched Throng. We did open one of those, so if we took this, maybe we could get a few Wretched Throngs. But I don't even know how big of a payoff getting a few of those is. It's fine. It's a solid card if you have a few of them. But 2/1s tend not to scale very well into the game, so you're not getting a huge advantage with that. I think I'm going to take the Undead Butler. I could see a world where Ragged Recluse is just better, or it's better to speculate on the Throng, but I think Undead Butler giving me the option to get back my Toxrill is quite nice. And now, moving on to pick 4, we don't see any great blue cards. Fear of Death is not a card that I'm a big fan of. We do see another solid black card with Wedding Security. If we are able to generate some blood tokens, you can get a pretty good edge by using Wedding Security, and we definitely want to be playing black, if at all possible, for this Toxrill. So I am leaning towards the Wedding Security right now. And then other cards that are worth noting is there are actually quite a few solid green cards. Wolf Strike is solid. I like Flourishing Hunter a lot as a top-end card. And Apprentice Sharpshooter is also pretty good middle of the curve creature that you can play to help you survive those early turns. I think taking another black card is just the most powerful option, though, because I probably will be able to end up with a few blood token cards just from my black cards. And this card, even with only like one other blood token, is quite good. And I want to make sure I bias myself towards black, because if it dries up, I still want to be able to play my Toxrill. So that's the logic there. Okay, moving on to pick 5. We see, I think the best card in this pack is the Spiked Ripsaw, which does play well with some of the other cards that we saw in that last pack. We did see a few green cards that I thought were solid, with the Wolf Strike, with the 6/6 that can gain you a bunch of life, and the 1/4 Reach creature. And Spiked Ripsaw is a good card. and it's in green, which we've been seeing. We also see another Wretched Throng, but I don't want to base my entire blue strategy on the fact that I could get a few Wretched Throngs. I don't think it's a particular signal, because unless someone's really going after them, they're not viewing it as a signal, whereas the green cards we're seeing could definitely be signals. I'm not a huge fan of the Hearse, and it's more of an aggressive card, whereas Toxrill just wants me to survive as long as possible. That is a downside with the Ripsaw, is it is more of an aggressive card, but I'd rather take the chance to get into green a little bit. Okay. This is pick 6. Again, we see some pretty solid green cards. There was a Spore Crawler. Oakshade Stalker's okay, but I think the Spore Crawler is better for our purposes, just survive into the late game. And then there's also Diver Scob, which does play well with like the Undead Butler, and if we do end up in a blue-black deck. Blue hasn't seemed particularly open, and it could just be that the Diver Scob is underrated by the table, and it's a little bit awkward having a double blue card, and we already have a lot of expensive cards. So I'm leaning towards this Spore Crawler because we've been seeing so many good green cards, and I think Spore Crawler is a pretty solid one. There is a Drogskull Infantry, but we haven't really been seeing any white. So I think I'm going to take the Spore Crawler and stick to green a little bit. And yeah, see how that works out. Undying Malice is a card that could be pretty good for us. We do have a very high priority Toxrill to keep around. We also have a couple of cards that have pretty good death triggers. So like getting back like an Undead Butler after it dies, or a Spore Crawler is just nice value, or if we want to sacrifice stuff. Repository Scab is also pretty solid. We don't really have instants and sorceries though. And then there's like Nature's Embrace to ramp us. I don't really want to take one of these green cards. I think they're just worse. I think getting like the one Undying Malice for my deck could be good. And again, I do want to play black, and so just making sure that I'm going to reach playables is important to me. So pick 8, seeing a Kindly Ancestor is kind of wild to me. This card seems very good and helps you like stabilize and survive for quite a while. Again, we haven't seen any like premium blue cards other than like the Exploit card, which I'm not sure how much of a signal that would be. We don't really need to take more expensive cards when we already have a 5-drop and a 7-drop. And also, I'm not really counting like the blue-black activation on this. It's not really super relevant. Cradle of Safety can be good to protect Toxrill. I'm going to take the Kindly Ancestor. If I'm getting that one, maybe I'll wheel the other one. But I did not wheel the other one. Interesting. Now, I've got a decision, Scattered Thoughts or the Wretched Throng. I think it's fine to speculate on Wretched Throng, because if I do get a few of these, it could be a pretty solid card in my deck. Okay, now there's a Skywarp Scob. I think that's better than the Dreadlight Monstrosity and the Mulch. And we get a second Wretched Throng. There's also Grizzly Ritual and Ragged Recluse. Getting a second Wretched Throng is pretty solid. And we don't have any blood tokens right now to go with the Recluse. Grizzly Ritual could be solid as well, though. I probably do want one copy, or I could consider playing a copy. Retrieve. Not a huge fan. Not really a huge fan of this either. Okay, so 3 Wretched Throngs. Interesting. Kind of filling out our 2-drop slot nicely. I don't really want to play that. So we could play, looking at our curve here, we have a couple green cards, but green kind of dried up a little bit. We have 2-drops kind of sorted if we do play blue-black, which does really make me want to play blue-black, because 2-drops can often be hard to come by, and we do have some nice expensive cards at the top end here. This card would push me into white. We did see a late Kindly Ancestor, but I'm not sure if people just like don't value that card correctly. Rot-Tide Gargantua does work well with our Wretched Throngs. I am going to be actively looking for exploit cards. I don't really feel bad about missing out on those 2 late blue ones, though, because I was keeping myself open to green, which looked like it was flowing. In this pack, I like Binding Geist. I like Cruel Witness a decent amount. I think Binding Geist is a little bit better, just because it's a little bit cheaper. And again, if I can get a little bit of extra interaction tacked onto my guy, I'm pretty happy with that. I do like Cruel Witness, but I'm hoping to be able to pick up some other 4-drops and stuff like that. So I'm not really prioritizing them as heavily. Okay, and now in this pack, we see Rot-Tide Gargantua. It works really well with some of our early drops. We have like 4 like creatures that are actively looking to be sacrificed. I'm not sure how highly to prioritize them because I am still early on in my drafting journey with this set, this being my first draft. I think we should expect to see a lot of white cards this pack because we didn't see any in pack 1 really, and that means that the person passing to us is decent likelihood of being white-red, which means that's why we saw some green cards, some blue cards, and some black cards. So I'm not going to worry if I see a bunch of white and red cards this pack. So I think it's between the Gargantua and just taking another 2-drop. I do like getting 2-drops for my deck. Also some card draw, but I don't really need to take that sort of card draw, I don't think. Mind Leech Ghoul, not really a high priority for me when I already have better 2-drops, I think. So I think I am going to take the Gargantua, give myself some sacrifice outlets. Okay. I do really like this Lantern Bearer. It just gives you a lot of game. Plays well with Steelclad Spirit, gives you something to sacrifice to your Gargantuas. Overall, just a great card, I think. There is, like, I think at this point I'm kind of settled into my blue-black lifestyle here. I'm probably going to be able to make playables. I already have some power, and so I just need to be able to fill out my deck, and so I'm just going to be giving myself options here. I think the time for flexibility is past here. I did miss out on some exploit cards, like the 3 and a blue exploit card that gets an instant or sorcery back, but I don't really have a ton of instants and sorcery, so that's not the biggest deal right now. And I did miss out on the 5-mana 3/5, which was the biggest card I missed out on, but I think I took like a green card over that when I was still leaving myself open to being green. I like Cobbled Lancer. I'm hoping to be able to like trade off some creatures and then be able to cast this card. I think that's a pretty strong strategy. How good is this card in my deck? How many creatures have greater toughness and power? 1, if I play that guy. 2, so that card's not particularly good in my deck. There is also Scattered Thoughts, which is a card I would really like to play, but I feel like I'll be able to get a couple 4-drops, and this card's really premium. But this card helps me find my talks. We're looking at 10% of your deck. 4 cards is 10%. That's a pretty big deal. I'm going to take the Lancer. I do have a lot of creatures. Okay, let's look at this. So, if you could gain life, create a blood token. How many ways do I have to gain life? I don't think I have any. And then if I sacrifice 2 blood tokens, transform it. So this isn't really a card for my deck. Neither is the Wedding Security, because I don't really have any blood tokens anyway. So I think I'm just going to take Binding Geist, a fine 3-drop blocker that can then be exploited, or just, like when it dies, I get to use it as a removal spell of sorts. I think Gluttonous Guest is also a fine option, but I'm just going to take the Binding Geist. Evolving Wilds, Foreboding Statue, and Scattered Thoughts, all kind of appealing here. I do like the idea of taking the Foreboding Statue because I do have some 5-drops already. Scattered Thoughts is obviously nice, and then Evolving Wilds is also pretty good. My deck is going to make playables, so the question is, are any of these cards just more irreplaceable than, like, Evolving Wilds? I'm going to try the... I'm going to take Scattered Thoughts. I do really want one. Ooh, perfect card. Stitched Alchemist. Really going to help me churn through my deck a little bit, and it works well with my 2-drops that want to be sacrificed. The Scattered Thoughts pick is really interesting. I was definitely considering Evolving Wilds very strongly there. I forget exactly what I took the Scattered Thoughts over, but I'm pretty happy to have one of those. I definitely wanted one. Now, between Desperate Farmer, the Desperate Farmer seems pretty good in my deck if I can get creatures to die, which I want to have happen, but I'm not sure if I will be able to get it to happen. Maybe I just take Syncopate. Like, I am looking for exploit stuff. I think I'd rather just get a cheap, flexible card. Wow, the Cruel Witness Wield. Nice. So this is one of the reasons why I haven't been prioritizing Scattered Thoughts, is because of cards like Cruel Witness. There's a Gargantua, but I already have one. I don't think I need to prioritize it, and I'd just rather get a 3/3 flyer, I think. Mind Leech Ghoul, another fine card to use with exploits. Chill of the Grave. I have a decent number of zombies, so this is going to cost 2 a decent amount of the time. We got another Scattered Thoughts. So a little bit punished for taking that Evolving Wild. I don't know how many copies of Scattered Thoughts I can afford to take. Wow, I feel like I've been seeing tons of this card, but that makes sense because it's not particularly good. So, in this pack, what do I want to take? I mean, honestly, taking the 4th Wretched Throng is probably the best. I mean, I don't see anything else worth taking. I don't really need a Desperate Farmer. I'm not looking to splash. I don't know if Gluttonous Guest is really for me. Just 3 mana 1/4 that gains me 1 life isn't really what I'm in the market for. That Evolving Wilds pick may come back to haunt me. I don't really know if I'm a Wedding Security deck either. But other than that, my deck is looking pretty solid. Could just be not be a Syncopate deck either, but... Investigator's Journal. I do have a decent number of creatures. Soul Cipher Board. Not really in the market for that either. It's just very slow. Don't think I need the journal. It's just also a slow card. How many creatures do I have? I have a lot of creatures, 16. Maybe the journal's fine for me. I definitely don't need more 2-drops. And I can afford to speculate on some power. Or a card that could be powerful for my deck. I'll take another Cobbled Lancer over Grisly Ritual. Also over Evolving Wilds. Selhuff and Tumors probably would be okay, just to get rid of extra Wretched Throngs. But I like the Cobbled Lancer. I do like Evolving Wilds as well, but this card seems quite good to me. Wow, late Brambleworm. If I had gotten a forest, would I consider splashing that? Probably not still. Am I going to play the Desperate Farmer? We'll see, we'll see. Wow, so Repository Scab can get back Scattered Thoughts, so not really a lot of cards to get back. Chill the Grave, Syncopate, yeah, not really a lot of options. I'm just going to get the Evolving Wilds here. Yeah, I don't really feel like I'm missing out on the Repository Scab. Okay, I like Lunar Rejection. Just bounce a creature, draw a card is pretty good. And more filtering helps me find my Toxtrol more often. Diagraph is fine, Cruel Witness is fine, but I already have one of those. Bloodcray Socialite's a great aggro card, but I'm more of a defensive deck. Maybe I'll just lock in my 5th Wretched Throng. I'm just going to always have a Wretched Throng. Wash Away could be a fine counter spell. Ramp, that's also removal. Maybe I just take Mind Leech Ghoul. I don't think I need the Wanderlight Spirit. Don't think I need Wash Away. I already have Syncopate. I have so many Wretched Throngs, but that I'll probably be able to have like them in play to sacrifice. Ooh, we got the Grisly Ritual. Nice. I did want access to one of those, I think. Just because my deck lacks interaction a little bit. So having access to one is pretty nice. Cruel Witness is my, like, insurance against flyers. So we've got a pretty interesting deck. I forget what I took the Scattered Thoughts over. I don't think it was over. Oh, the pack had that 1/3 in it. I think the 1/3 uncommon that I didn't want. Okay, so 8/8/1 split. I have a lot more blue cards. It's highlighting them for some reason, like it says I can't have more than 4. Are you kidding me? Arena just forgets how MTG works, where I'm allowed to have more than 4 copies of a card in draft. Thanks, Arena. Well, I guess we'll have to file a bug report, because I would play 5 of the Throngs. What cards don't I want? Skywarp Scob seems pretty solid, but maybe it's not as good because I have this. So I could see cutting that. And then I can cut Steelclad Spirit because I have plenty of 2-drops. And these ones like synergize a little bit better since I have so many of them. Just, honestly, just a travesty. It's never been a problem before having 5 copies of a card, but I guess when you gotta do it, you gotta do it. Maybe I'll play this Desperate Farmer. Got some interaction. Just a travesty. I do like those. Lantern Bearer doesn't really fit my deck very well, but I do have 3 Mind Leech Ghouls, so it's going to be a nice curve out when I get that to go, and having access to that effect is pretty nice. Would I rather have the Journal or the 2 Scattered Thoughts? I think Journal is probably better than the 2nd Scattered Thoughts. I like having the Desperate Farmer so I can try it out. Cut a Mind Leech Ghoul. 7 2-drops. We don't need this one. The Undying Malice. Yeah, I think I'm going to cut the Undying Malice. I don't really do much at instant speed, other than hold up this. Yeah. Kind of unfortunate that I can't play that 5th copy, because it would play well with all of my exploit cards. Oh well, this is going to do it for the build, I think. I'm going to try, this is my initial version. I think I'll go 881, because I don't have a ton of double-colored costs, and I do need early both colors. And yeah, that'll do it for the build, and I'll see you folks in the matches. Before I get to the games, I want to give a huge shout out to all of the patrons who support my content, my channel, at patreon.com/NicolaiBolas, and special shout out to those at the credits level. It is thanks to Patreon support that I'm able to make as many videos as I do, so if you found my videos to be of some value, maybe they've helped you win a couple of extra games on the arena ladder, or maybe you've crushed your FNM because of some of my advice, and you want to help me continue making the videos, then Patreon is the best way to do so, and as my way of saying thank you, you even gain access to some pretty cool Patreon exclusive rewards, like access to my card-by-card grade spreadsheet, my tier list for Crimson Vow, which is an excellent bonus resource to help you crush your competition, especially early on in the format when a lot of people don't know how to evaluate the cards. But anyway, I do hope you are enjoying the video so far, regardless of whether or not you decide to become a patron, and without further ado, let's get to the games. Welcome to round 1. We are on Mission Survive. We will go first and keep this hand. We have our Toxrill, so we just have to make sure we get to cast it and we'll win, pretty much. Let's see if Lantern Bearer is the truth here. Get to sacrifice it on turn 2 to exploit. We could also just, like, leave them with their cards, but they did mulligan, I believe. I will sacrifice it. They exile a random top-end card. Okay, Spirit. I'll just make an annoying little threat here. If they use a removal spell on this, they are less likely to have a removal spell for Toxrill, and I'll start having my Syncopate up. It's more kind of suspicious if I don't use my Lantern's Lift there, so I want to disguise the Syncopate as much as possible. Sure. Since we're on Mission Survive, we are not going to attack. We can hold back the Drogskull infantry. Sure. Not going to block that, because this guy's holding back a lot of power. We'll counter this because it stops their initiate from growing. And it exiles the card. This is a problem, not drawing a single playable spell. But okay, that's really good to see. We're hoping to keep this in place so when we play this, we'll immediately get a slug. Oh, dearie me. Certainly not going to exploit anything here. Oh, that's a brutal turn of events here. So if we take 7, so they have these two things to buff their guys up. We definitely have to block with 3 cards from their graveyard. So they could have given us first strike. I think we survive here. But it's certainly close, and we're probably dead if we don't, like, draw another something good. Oh, I'll certainly jump block. Oh my gosh, that's huge. They forgot the damage, way damage worked. Okay, that's huge. Okay. Luckily, Toxrill came to the rescue. Got the win in round 1. Oof. Thought my draw was not going to let me win that game. Also, the way that played out, I think I should play my Scattered Thoughts. Because, like, it's so beneficial to draw Toxrill that I just want as much card draw as I can to find it. Like, I just win the game if I find it, so I'm going to add that Scattered Thoughts back into the deck. Honestly, pretty big error if I don't play it, I think. We'll play that. We just want everything that helps us survive. Investigator's Journal can help us find it, but it's not as direct, I think. Maybe it's better than Stitched Assistant, but I have all these Wretched Throngs that I can't play the 5th one. That's just irritating me. Cruel Witness is not the best card in my defensive deck. So I could honestly see cutting that for more card draw to find my guy. We'll try it. We'll try it. I want to see how the Journal plays out. It definitely seems like it could be just like a game-winning card. It is slow a little bit, though, which can be problematic. I do have a lot of creatures, though, but I guess some of them sacrifice each other. Yeah, maybe I don't want the Journal, but we'll see. We'll see. Toxrill's really just a beating. If they hadn't attacked, I mean, Toxrill just slowly takes them down, so I think they have to just attack and hope for the best. But, like, if I block, their guy dies, which is just massive for me. So, I guess they didn't really have that many options. Kind of insane that they added a bug to the game. I don't know why it doesn't let you play more than 4 in limited. I literally have done that, like, many times before, and it has not been an issue. But I guess they're working the kinks out on stuff. Okay, this is an interesting one. Can I keep this hand? I have a lot of cards that can draw that can make this good, and I have Toxrill, so I am going to keep it, I think. It's kind of a weird hand, though, I will admit. If they get off to a fast start, I could easily lose. Yep, starting with that 1-drop, getting in there with the Specimen. But honestly, hands that have Toxrill are just so good, because some decks just kill you very slowly. And it won't be an issue, and I'll just be able to survive until I can play it. Ooh. You love to see it when you're trying to be defensive, and you're just like, please don't play an Aura. But yeah, the Cobbled Lancer does have some downside. And we're seeing it here. So does Steelclad Spirit. There we go. Lantern Bearer, you can trade with the Persistent Specimen. Realize your destiny. Are they going to counter it? They can't syncopate it. I've played around syncopate brilliantly. And if they do counter it with anything but syncopate, I get to Cobbled Lancer. Oh, yes. Oh, yes, the Lantern Bearer is here to play. I'll start adding to the board. I'll be able to play my Cobbled Lancer. They can use this thing, but I don't care. If this thing's in play, it means I'll get a slug when that guy comes down. That's right, opponent. Your Syncopate is useless against me. I think they probably do have Syncopate based on the way they're playing it. They're just holding up their card, hoping for the best, and I just never give them the chance to use it. I'm too mana efficient. I mean, I did technically, like, kind of waste that guy, but I don't really care. As long as I can get my Cobbled Lancer out, I'll get the card back from the Cobbled Lancer. Specimen's not really doing anything. Look at Scattered Thoughts go. I am not going to cast this into their Syncopate. I will make them burn their mana. Because it looks like that's what they have. And if I do ditch a creature, I get to play this Cobbled Lancer, which is nice. Wow, they're playing these Steelclad Spirits. They might have a Toxrill too, judging by the way they're playing this. They could have. I'm fine if they Syncopate this, because it means they won't be able to Syncopate Toxrill. I will put this into my hand. And another Scattered Thoughts into my hand. I'm fine if they counter this. I'm trying to make them use their counter spell. And then I'll use Scattered Thoughts next turn. I don't want to play Toxrill into their counter magic. Feels like they have some counter magic. Jeez Louise. Decline. They could also just have nothing. But I feel like better safe than sorry a lot of the time in these spots. Hero's Downfall. Well, I'm not going to guarantee that opponent regrets that, but I feel like there's a high likelihood they do. Because that's the sort of thing that does not go over well. It is. Oh, yes. I should have played my land first so I could play around Syncopate, but I'm kind of trying to make them use Syncopate. What do they have? Do they just have a lot of removal? Oh, they have a Gutter Skulker. Okay. That card can be scary. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to use this one because I want to dig deeper. I'll take Stitched Assistant. And I will take a land because that way I can play around Syncopate when I play my Toxrill this turn. Beautiful. That card's perfect because it can let me get back Toxrill if things were to go wrong. Thanks to this Stitched Assistant synergy. That's right, Persistent Specimen. I've had my eye on you for quite some time now. That's right. Slug time. And there's not a lot of removal spells that can kill this. Black does have the removal spells that can. But if they do kill it, I get it back with my Undead Butler into Stitched Assistant combo. Sure thing, buddy. Buddy old pal. Hello, Toxro. Welcome back. Good to have you back on the team. Ooh, I do like that guy here. Trading those two guys off seems fine here. Because this thing flips now. And a 4-3 lifelinker does a good job against this, and the binding guys can deal with that guy to some degree. Can also Grizzly Ritual something at some point. 12 cards left. I'm totally fine on cards. I have this journal that can draw me more. Man, the combo actually came up with the Undead Butler. I was hoping it would. I have milled one Wretched Throng and exiled another. This gaining me 4 life is quite good. Play this. Let's make him ditch something. And we'll add to the board. Keep up the pressure, as they say. They'll get to bring this guy back, if they so choose. And I still have this Tox roll to drop if they give me the chance. Wow, they are rocking out the Steelclad Spirits. The thing with Steelclad Spirit is it kind of requires you to have a late game of some kind. If they trade this off, I'll get another 2-1. I think. No, maybe I used them all. 1, 2, 3, 4. Did use them all. Punished for not being able to play the 5th one. But this is fine. We do 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 damage. I have pretty much infinite cards here. I could have shrunk their guy. I was thinking about it. Next turn I'll play Toxro maybe. Oh, nice. Cute. So they're dead on board. do this just to be extra safe. I have my counterspell up and everything. So I do have a counterspell. Got there, it looks like. Not going to say good game back until we've actually won, because sometimes they troll you like that. They get you. That's why when you can win without using your big bomb, it's oftentimes best too, so that they have to like tap out or something. Because they were holding that up for a long time, I think. Trying to get me with it. Getting a nice little win there. Being able to get back Toxrill is pretty powerful, it turns out. Glad we got that Butler. We didn't even need it. It was more so the threat of it. Kept them honest. I'm not sure we need extra cards that much after seeing that game, but the Investigator's Journal is still really sweet. We performed pretty well there. If there's 2 creatures in play, it's like a slow draw 3. Can be good. Just find Toxrill, helps us find our combo to get it back. All that good stuff. This is a fine hand. We can exploit this to itself so that we can play Cobbled Lancer. Which we do want to do, because getting this out is much better. Or at least a little bit better. Like now we have a 3/3 that can block that pretty nicely. They have a Braid, that's pretty good for them. Yep. We'll still get our 2-for-1 though. And we'll just scatter thoughts here. Dig for some action. They may be color screwed. I like the sound of this. So I put 2 in my hand, so I'll put this in my hand and this in my hand. And that way I have something to exile to my Cobbled Lancer. And this is a wolf. So that's pretty good. So I can return it for only 2 mana if I want to. Oh, I'm going to be able to get a real big wolf here, it looks like. Oh, the horror. That's terrifying. We're in survival mode. Them having that mythic was kind of bad for us. Dealt with this, but this thing can still, like, essentially trade for the Ridge Wolf anyway. And eventually we'll find Toxrill and win. Sure. I can bounce this mid-combat. not trading with the Ridge Wolf was a close decision for sure. I don't really want to go to 2. I definitely want to cast a spell this turn so this doesn't flip. And I may have to double block this. Then try to shrink that guy or this guy. I'm going to play this one. Because I can chump and get another one. Thin my deck a little bit. Thank you, Toxrill, for keeping it real. Even if they try to pump it, it'll lose it, fall off, and it'll still die. I hope they don't have a steal effect. That would be bad. I would still be alive, though, I think. The plan worked! The plan worked! Just gonna play this as conservatively as possible. Gonna flip it back to daytime. Hit them for 7. The next turn I'll have 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yes! Got the Toxrill coming in the nick of time. I didn't need Toxrill to win that game, I think. If I had drawn other specific draws, I would have been able to maybe get out of it. But Toxrill, like, put that one away. I was kind of playing that whole game hoping to draw Toxrill eventually. But, I mean, Maybe my deck does have some slowish elements. Maybe another ghoul would not go far wrong. This guy could be okay, but I think with the two of these, I don't want another Scob effect. Still won't let me add that card. Steelclad Spirit could still be okay, but I already have a lot of 2s. I have 7 2-drops, which is fine. Cruel Witness is another option. The 1/4 is fine, probably. I'm liking my chances here. I'm liking the deck so far. I'm playing out really in a fun way. Speaking of fun stuff, if you want to have a fun time talking about all things Magic, you can join the NicolaiBolas Discord server, linked in the description down below. It's free to join for everybody. People have a great time there. There's almost 500 folks there, so it's really cool to see everyone. Okay, we're going to keep this. Nice. The classic 1, 2, 3, but we can't play our 1-drop yet. Let's go. Wretched Throng doing major work. The thing is this is the sort of card that, like, when you wheel it, it looks really good because you have, like, 4 copies of it. No, we missed out. But when you don't wheel it, like, you just don't play it, so you don't... It's like one of those ones that's kind of weirdly placed. Are they going to play Wretched Throng? Yes, they are. I feel like this is a pretty good play. Sets up for our Cobbled Lancer. I will keep that on top because I have so many double blue cards that I just want to be able to play them all. I mean, I have so many blue cards, I want to be able to play 2. Like Cobbled Lancer plus this next turn is going to be really good looking. If you think I'm blocking, you're insane. No. I don't want to trade your 2/1 for my 3/2. Thank you very much. That seems like a poor trade for me, especially when I'm about to play a 3/3. Oh, they're going to kill it? Wolf Strike? That would be a strange use for Wolf Strike. I'll say that much. 3/2s are generally pretty easy to get off the board. Oh, main phase Thrill for Thirst for Discovery. Interesting. Not really worried about the card advantage axis. My deck kind of has that on lock. One of the problems with attacking with a 2/1 hoping they'll trade is that then they just attack you back for 3 and you're behind in the damage race. And I have 9 power in play by turn 4. This thing won't be able to block because of this guy doing his job. Let's go. I have Lantern Bearer, which is going to start doing some work. The Hook Hand, okay, I see how it is. I see how it is. Huh. So I guess we're on defense mode because of the Hook Hand. Hook Hand does have good stats. 4/4, when it flips, it's kind of scary. Not really scary for my board because I can block it with stuff still. Ah, Cruel Witness. I'll chump Cruel Witness so that I can flip my Desperate Farmer and then put the Cruel Witness onto the Farmer and then have a 5/4 lifelinker. That seems pretty reasonable. Ah! Jacob! No, say it ain't so! Well, that's going to be a problem. Imagine the satisfaction of drawing Toxrill here and just wiping out the Throngs. This card is going to win them the game. Oh man, I needed to draw some of my card advantage. I am worried about Jacob. He's on to something. That is a problem. Oh no, man. Ah! Torrens. Well, that's gonna make me a heck of a lot of slug creatures, I can tell you that much. It's gonna be beautiful. What? Please attack me. I'll block. Put the thing on this guy, start clocking him for 5 lifelink in the air every turn. Count me in. Clobbering them. Oh my gosh. Well, this card's incredible right now. You're drawing extra cards, you say? Well, you all know that I'm also drawing extra cards. You may have an investigator, but I have his journal. And I can read the journal. Okay. Scob. They don't get to draw. Nice. Get wrecked. Our journal's killing it in this spot. Gonna help me compete with the insight. Because once I find Toxrill, the game just ends. Because I'm gonna make like 6 1/1s probably. If this thing dies, my whole situation crumbles a little bit. Luckily, blue-green is not known for its fantastic removal. Easy double block. Not blocking with this means that I can still kind of hold off their flyers. Mulchin. Okay. Why would you put a... I don't understand. Why would you put a land in the graveyard if you're literally playing mulch? It makes no sense, to me at least. They could deck themselves, which would be pretty funny. Probably gonna shrink this scab down. Okay. Just incredible fortune on that. Literally went from 2 creatures in graveyard to just flipping... Oh, no, that's Scattered Thoughts. I thought they flipped 3 creatures. Okay. Gonna use my journal. This thing is a bit of a problem. I'll hold up Syncopate and Journal. Unfortunately, their Binding Geist is going to get my Depraved Harvester shrunk a little bit. Oh, that's so unfortunate that this thing got so big. I milled this. And every card I go gets me 1 closer to Toxrill, which is my biggest hope at this point, because I'll get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 masses of tokens. Assuming I'm not dead by then. And these things haven't all grown. Well, that's not ideal. Oh, that thing grows. Three, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'll gain 2. Still in great shape if I hit a Toxrill. Thinned my deck a little bit. I may just be on Toxrill or Bust here. I have 10 lands in play, so I have 1 more draw step at it for sure. So we'll take that draw step. Ritual. So I can chump that relatively easily. They have so much power, though. I don't know if I can survive here. I jump, block, take, jump. I mean, I have to jump 3 things. And then I take 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. That's just unfortunate. That's the way it goes sometimes, though. If Toxel had been in my top 25, like top 15 cards, I would have won. But that's how it goes. Oh, exactly 0. That's rough. You can't always win. That's how it goes sometimes. They got their Jacob Halkin. My deck doesn't have a ton of removal. Can deal with a creature like that. And so they just took over with their Jacob and their other rare before I could draw my rare. Happens. Eat the happens. I did have my journal, though, which would have been pretty good in other circumstances. Knowing that I had the journal plus the digging for the Tox roll made that game closer than it looked on paper. Because if I land Tox roll, I get all of the tokens that I need to win. On the play, I'm going to mulligan this hand. I don't have a black source, and it just makes it so much less consistent. I'm going to ditch the Mind Bleach Ghoul because I think it's the weakest card here. I want help getting out of my mulligan. I think the removal spell can be pretty nice to have. Gonna get another island. Not give them any information. Also, I have more blue cards than black cards. Green, red, you say? G to the R. I can Mind Leech School Exploit. Flip this guy. And then I can put it onto the Desperate Farmer. No, don't do it, please. Show mercy. Oh, nice. Still gonna do this. They could kill it, but I gain a lot of life, which will buy me time regardless. No! I have some double blocks. I could kind of get him out of the game with that. Chill of the Grave, if I use it properly. And if they spend their turn just flipping their werewolves, I'm pretty ecstatic. Yep, that's how it goes sometimes. It's been an awkward game just because of the way my mana developed. Yep. There's a land. Okay. I really want to kill this thing. Oh my gosh, we're still alive. No, my Binding Geist. Monster. I'm gonna ditch my Mind Bleach Tool. It's kind of useless here. Doesn't do much for me. Hmm. 3, 4, 5, 6. I was hoping to find a 2-drop. That's a nightmare. Dang it. I have 8 cards left in my deck. I was digging. That's just how it goes sometimes. When Toxtrol's in your bottom, like 10 cards, 2 games in a row, it's just hard to win when you're kind of behind like that. Like, my deck can win without Toxtrol, but there's some games where it can't, and that's one of them. There was some potential for me trying to tempo them out or something, but I don't think that's going to work most of the time. Why, Toxtrol? Why have you forsaken me? What did I do to deserve this I opened the Mythic. I'm supposed to win every game. Well, I guess I win every game I draw the Toxrill. So I just have to, like, lose some of the other ones to keep it interesting. Interesting. We're going to keep this on the play. We have some extra cantripping kind of stuff. There he is, the hero. Chilla the Irish. The problem is if we miss a land drop, we're in trouble. There we go. Never miss a land drop. I'm just going to hold up Syncopate. Yeah, even though it's not the best Planeswalker, it's still really scary if they just put counters on that the whole time. So I can still draw 2 cards off this. It's slow, but I have plenty of card advantage, and I have my Toxrill. No, messed up on my colors. I will happily block your Shield Breaker. I mean, Basher. Nice. Ooh. Oh, man, which one do I play? Jamming Toxrill on curve to kill that is not, it's very tempting. And I can kind of sweeten the deal up. Give him a tempting removals target. Swamp time. One can hope they don't kill Toxrill and we just win. Or they kill Toxrill and we have a game again. Ah! Oh my gosh! That's terrifying! Oh my gosh! Well, that's a situation. We can bounce this thing. Oh! We get to exile their last card. Oh, it was Adamant Will. This thing dies. Oh my gosh. The hits keep coming. The Doom Dissenter won't die to the Toxrill, maybe? I don't know exactly how that works. No blocks. I can just take it. Oh, Toxrill wins me another game. Let's go. I'm gonna cut the journal, I think. I think it's too slow. I'd rather just get my card advantage all at once. If I cut the journal, I have room for that 5th scamp. I'm just going to play the Cruel Witness, I think. Get myself a flyer. Some extra defense in the air. Because I feel like I've been getting a little bit wrecked by flying. We'll see if we get rewarded for that swap. We'll keep this. Turn 2 Throng, turn 3 Throng, and tap land. This is the downside of Throng, is when you're playing Throng Tribal. And you just play a bunch of random 2/1s. I'll get another swamp so I can cast this thing for sure. I think Rocktide Gargantua is not very good. It's been consistently bad every time we've had it. I mean, 5/4 is nothing terrible, but I think I just want to cut it, even though I have a lot of exploit stuff. It's just never lining up very well. Synergy, baby. I kind of want to play Lunar Rejection. To like bounce this and then have Rocktide take out one of their better things. Then again, just resetting this thing after they put some work into it is kind of nice as well. I know I could like sack the Lantern Bearer to like then suit up something, but I'd rather just keep chipping in for one. Ah! Ah! No! Not Edgar. Edgar. That's utterly terrifying. I had 5 Wretched Throngs, I could get 2 of them when my Wretched Throngs died, but instead I can only get 1. Got the ground stalled relatively well, which makes me feel a little bit safer taking my shields down for this for a turn. I do like having the bounce up. This gets 1 more counter, it gets pretty scary. I will chump it. Hmm. I think a 2-1 on board is worse than a random card from their hand, considering they probably have some good spells. Yep, that was definitely better. Oh my gosh, so punished for missing a land drop that turn. So punished. I'm just gonna dig for Toxrill. I get to dig 6 cards. Punished by keeping up my blue sources. My deck is pretty good at digging for Toxrill, which is nice. I'll tap this. And I wanted my 7th land, so when I do draw Toxrill, I can just jam it. Fun game, though. If I'd done an extra swamp, I could have, like, exploited to get their last card. Hoping it's not removal. It's funny, because Toxa's going to take a while to chip through their board. Getting the slug right away is kind of nice. Every draw step could be the Toxrill. Just living on a prayer, I guess. Oh my gosh. My draws are just failing me down the stretch here. It feels like I'm like churning through my library. And the one time I did need to draw a land to get my guy flying to like win the game, I couldn't draw it. Oh gosh. That's a good draw. That is great. I should have kept the land. I forgot I had this card in my deck, so I did mess that part up. Could cost me for sure. Got rid of this card, so maybe they do have something good. They could suicide attack with this. Get some triggers. I think that's the best play. Because then you get like infinite blood tokens for that guy. They could have a combat trick for sure. Four, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Five, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I can't cast that and my thing on the same turn.
You can deal with my servant. I'm busy.
Oh my gosh. So much trouble. Gosh. Just gonna lose to not keeping my land in hand so I could ditch these things. I think it's relatively unfortunate that all of the games where I needed Toxrill to win, he was in my bottom 10 cards. I can't beat this card now. Oh, gosh. Just can't buy a card that's worth casting. Oh my gosh. You're joking. Just. Oh my gosh. See, the thing is it's like I need my rare to compete with their rares because they have like these absurd rares as well, and so it's like when they draw their rares and I can't draw mine, even though I have 5 cards left in my deck, it's like there's nothing I can do at that point.
You will serve me well.
Gosh. There he is. As they say in the biz, too little, too late sometimes, but nice of him to make an appearance. I don't have any way to deal with that, I don't think. Already used my Grizzly Ritual. This game is so different if I find my land so I can cast my Lantern Geist and don't get hosed by Diregraph Scavenger. Because then I actually have a flying threat, and it looks like they have had no removal, so I would have been able to like clock them in the air for 6 a turn. If Toxtra wasn't my 5th from bottom card, I would have won this game, I think.
I bring my own army.
Gosh darn it. I mean, I'm just dead, but might as well make him do it. I feel like my deck was remarkably good at digging deep into its deck, so just a little unfortunate there. So I have 5, 6, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So I have 2 more spells in my deck. I wonder what I forget what they are, but yeah. Voice of the Blessed, too much to deal with. Well, interesting draft for sure. I mean, we lost to that Werewolves deck. We lost to that deck, obviously. And I forget what my first loss was to. But I think it was, again, I just dug super deep. Oh, it was to the deck that had the Jacob Hauken. So, pretty interesting. Not being able to kill their creatures was kind of a problem with this deck for sure. I was over-reliant on Toxrill in regards to killing creatures. I was very consistent at finding Toxrill, but my interaction was lacking. I wish I could have played the 5th Wretched Throng. That would have been kind of cool. Undying Malice, I didn't really miss it. I did miss out on I don't know. I didn't really feel like I missed out on stuff. This card could have been interesting to try, potentially. Maybe I should have experimented with it. But, because it does help me find Toxic. But I felt like I just wanted to play all the board affecting cards and then Scattered Thoughts to help me dig. But yeah, that last game was really unfortunate. Just like missing a land that I would have needed for Lantern Bearer. And then trying to set up to like hit my Toxrill at some point in that game and just never hitting it. But, regardless, a lot of fun in my first draft of the format. I look forward to exploring it more. If you did enjoy this video, remember to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to my channel for more draft content, click that little bell icon, and comment below with your comments, questions, and feedback. And to let me know you made it all the way to the end of the video, in the comment section down below, leave hashtag Toxrill to let me know you made it all the way to the end, because Toxrill was the key factor in all of our wins pretty much, and also his absence was the factor in all of our losses. If you would like to support my content, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out the Patreon, patreon.com/NicolaiBolas. You can gain access to my Crimson Vow card-by-card tier list, which will give you all of my thoughts on the cards. So if you've enjoyed hearing my perspective, you can gain access to that all in one handy-dandy spreadsheet. You can also find the NicolaiBolas Discord server, my articles, and my merchandise linked in the description down below if you want to represent the NicolaiBolas community out in the world. There's some cool options in the merchandise store. And yeah, there's also the NicolaiBolas Discord, which is free to join, and my articles, which are pure strategy goodness, as they like to say in the biz. You can just find all of that cool stuff linked down below. That is going to do it for this draft video, though. I'm really excited to dive into Crimson Vow. Feels like we got a pretty good start. Got to experiment with one of my rares that I identified as one of the strongest, though not that hard to identify. This is a completely absurd card, but still felt pretty good. Got to experiment with a lot of the cards, see how they played out, and even found a little bit of an MTG Arena bug in the process. Anyway, that is going to do it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will talk to you next time.